By being more patient, we allow 90% of our production to be done by the wind. And none of that is man-made energy, you know, it's all natural. So it's hugely, and our single source is the sea. So by going for slow, it's all sea and wind, and then with a little bit of skill at the end.
We make our salt using the seawater. We collect the seawater and we pump it up to the top of a graduation tower, which is a tower full of blackthorn, and we trickle the water down. What we're trying to do is increase the surface area of the water so that we have a larger area for more evaporation. I always kind of liken it to doing your washing. If you take your washing out, you stretch it out as much as possible. The more you stretch it out, the quicker it dries. And it's the same principle for this. And as the water comes down, it increases in concentration. And we keep on circulating it around the tower until it gets to about 20 to 22% saltiness. So seawater starts at 3.5%. So that's basically, it's a bit like I suppose a reverse concentrate. We take the full amount and we get down to a sort of concentrate level at the end, at which point we pump that off into the bath, and then we heat it up in the bath for about 5 days to produce the crystals, and then the crystals then get dried for a short period before they can be used.
Location is everything to us. This part of the coast of Scotland used to make salt. It made salt from the kind of 1200s onwards. There's a huge heritage, a strong heritage of salt making right here. That's Salt Pans Road. We're sitting right beside it. The medieval salt works are just down there. And that's a kind of heritage we're hugely proud to carry on and take forward. It's also the site of the family business that's been going for 150 years, and so it's really important that we're able to kind of evolve and carry on that. There's a lot of longevity, and looking back in order to look forward, it's all about the place. When we look out to the sea, we see Arran, we see our single source, that's our ingredient, and we know it's just there. And the tower's just here, and it's all in the place.
The tricky bit was actually trying to find someone to build it, because as you can imagine, as it being the only one in the world, the only one that's ever been built in the UK, it was tricky, and eventually found a chap called Archie who basically came with 5 mates and put the thing together, and it was woodworking. Yeah, they just loved working with wood. They've done all sorts of bizarre structures, sort of much smaller scale, and yeah, so they did this. It was brilliant.
That wherever you are, wherever your sea comes from, and that has a direct correlation to what your crystals are going to taste like. So you'll have higher salinity seas in various parts of the world, and there'll be a much saltier, stingier flavour, and you have a more gentle sea with lots more calcium, potassium, magnesium in it, and that will be a more well-rounded, longer-lasting flavour. Sea affects the flavour hugely, and then it's also our method of production with the graduation tower and the tannins, and how slowly we kind of create the crystals to ensure the minerals are in there.
Compared to other salts, it's it's only it's 94% sodium chloride. So if you compare that to a sort of standard salt, which is 99, nearly 100, that's about 5% of a difference, and that makes a huge difference in the flavour of what you're getting, because it's, I suppose, like when you have a cup of tea or a coffee, you add milk or sugar, tiny quantities. I mean, that's less than 5%, yet it drastically changes the flavour of what you're drinking. So if you think 5-6% of all the different minerals in there drastically affects the flavour of the salt, and therefore it affects what it does to the food you're eating. It just, I suppose, makes every mouthful taste better.
I think one of the lovely things is we have reports that when people, especially the kind of manufacturing, if they're making burgers or they're making fudge, they use 50% less salt when they're using our salt, because it boosts the flavour enough for them. They don't need to oversalt it, which is really important, I think. And the tannin flavour from the Blackthorn bark is a kind of earthy, umami, savoury flavour. So it's the only salt in the world that will have that in it. So it's completely unique. It's essential to one of our main notable points that people who are obsessed about flavour notice about Blackthorn.